Let go of fear, you're holding the fire smoldering. It's starting all over again. I got a feeling that I ought to know it, burning inside. I got a feeling that I ought to know it, yeah. Every time I grip the wheel, I begin to feel I know I'm in for a white knuckle ride. You got a fix for me, you know what I need. Oh, it's a breakneck speed. Might as well enjoy the ride.
One of NASCAR's original tracks, home of train tracks, hot dogs, and paper clips. Well, lack of the paperclip part. That's just what the track looks like, is a paperclip. We welcome you into Martinsville Speedway virtually on iRacing, the penultimate round. Probably one of the hardest words I'll ever say. Of this championship series, the North Carolina 811.com Cup Series. 2 races to go, and we have got ourselves a star-studded field ready to rock and roll as qualifying officially is underway for the race this evening. It is Martinsville. As I mentioned, 200 laps, 78 degrees, 55% humidity, partly cloudy skies on this half-mile track, and 2 races to go and 4 drivers within 10 points of the championship. And tonight is a wee bit smaller of a field. That's going to play a big role in the championship race. Of course, I'm the captain, Chris Scala, and Kevin England, not Sigmund, as I always like to call him for some reason, joins me this evening here in the booth. Kevin, don't ask why. It just happens. It's just one of those things where I call myself James sometimes. I don't know why. But either way, we're here tonight. Martinsville Speedway, a track that opened back in 1947, originally a dirt track. Now it's a asphalt track with concrete corners, but this one of many points of history.
I just feel like coming to this racetrack has such history, as you use that word. I've been to this racetrack a couple times. The one thing I know, no matter where you are on the racetrack, you're clawing, you're digging, you're scratching, you're trying to get positions so hard with that car right in front of you to get the run, get underneath them, try and make that pass. Maybe you've got to use the bumper. And these guys say they've got a handful today when they're working on this asphalt surface, trying to get the car into the corner without locking the brake. We're going to see an exciting race that's going to lead us to the championship finale next week.
It is going to be exciting, and basically you're going to see the typical Martinsville you've been seeing in the next-gen car. You're going to see shifting. You're going to see tight racing. You're going to see side-by-side, and we're going to see a winner when it is all said and done here this evening. Where is Martinsville on the map? Well, it's just about 2 hours of a road trip, as we can get this thing to cooperate with me. Well, let's see if we can pull this off. It is 2 hours of a road trip from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, or from Charlotte, North Carolina, I should say. And a lot of drivers like to take this trip up to Virginia each and every year. And, well, needless to say, it is one, as I mentioned, for the history books, as it's the original short track, all of a half a mile, literally in the Martinsville town area. A lot of people, you have to park in the grass of houses and different things. Matter of fact, a couple years ago, Kyle Busch had to run 1.5 miles because he was stuck in traffic. He ran up the railroad tracks, got to the track for the driver intros and stuff. True story. And it actually happened that night. And well, that's just some of the stuff you see here at the Martinsville Speedway. Kevin, my man, I got a question for you. Do you know why the corners are concrete?
Well, originally they were paved in asphalt, but they kept tearing them up, so they put concrete down to try and get longevity.
Very good. A lot of short tracks are like this, that the cars are so heavy that the first couple races here at Martinsville, they literally ripped the track apart in the corners because they were so quick and heavy. So what they did to make up for it, they put concrete in the corners because concrete doesn't break up like asphalt does. Bada bing, bada boom. That's why the corners at Martinsville Speedway are concrete. There's my Mike Joy moment there for you here this evening. All right, cars are on.
A Larry Mack moment. Do you recall the Jeff Gordon incident.
I do. 2006, Rusty Wallace won that race.
Yes.
And yeah, that was the day where the concrete decided to come apart, basically. So, and of course, that led to the repavement. Actually, they grounded the track, if I remember correctly, and it became a multi-groove track after that. And then they repaved it to where we are now at this track. Daniel Falkingham has moved to the pole here to 1930. Macklin is second. Jatina up to third. Chad Coleman, Justin Mons, your top five. Of course, our final, or our 10 drivers, I should say, most of them are here tonight. And while qualifying goes on, we'll try to get a word here with maybe one or two of them. I know it's about to end here in about 20 seconds or so. So let's jump up and let's grab a driver here really quickly. Let's see who's all in here for me to talk to. It's another potential issue. We got Daniel. We have Daniel. And Daniel. Who's going to be the pole sitter? Macklin is in another channel right now. Bentley Glazier's in another channel right now. So, yeah, we'll let Daniel just kind of mind his own business and go racing. How's that? But he is going to be the pole sitter here this evening as the warm-up starts. And you know what? I lied. Let's get Daniel up here. And because he is the pole sitter tonight. And, of course, our pole sitter award is given away by our good friends at the North Carolina 811. Of course, the Call Before You Dig 811 Pole Award. As Daniel joins us here, Mr. Falkingham on the pole. Congratulations. We were watching you in practice. Was it just more trying to hot lap, or were you just trying to figure out something in the long run? What was going on there? Because it seemed like you were the slowest, and then obviously went out and won the pole.
Yeah, I was just trying my best hot lap because I know how much track position is going to mean, and I just kept wrecking every lap I did, but I kind of figured out when we got to Q. The track probably changed a little bit as well, so yeah, just trying to hot lap as best I could, and thankfully I was able to put the magic lap down, got it on pole, and we got the track position to start, and we can get those all-important laps led. So best place to start, and hopefully we can keep it up there.
I was going to say, it's this is going to be a battle. 4 of you within 10 points of each other. How big is this race going to Homestead? Or going to, Phoenix.
Yeah, we won Homestead, so that was a bonus, but hopefully this is good for us to maybe cap off and get another win, lead some laps, get all the points we get going to Phoenix.
Absolutely, man. Well, good luck tonight, and hey, you're starting shotgun.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Daniel Falkingham, the 811 Pole Award winner tonight. Of course, a reminder, as always, make sure you do call 811 before you dig, no matter what state you are in. We do ask for you to call before you dig. Let's get him down to his team name channel. And Kevin, I'm being reminded already on my Twitch channel, which is a good reminder, by the way, because I always forget to do it, that it says I'm playing the Microsoft Flight Sim over there because that's what I usually do on Twitch. But we use the Restream app, of course, to broadcast on all the channels, so I don't really go looking real quickly at those channels. But needless to say, let's take a look at the starting lineup while we go through that. Daniel Falkingham on the pole, top 2, all in the top 4 in the points. Falkingham and Macklin, they're in row 1. Joey Jatina, Chad Coleman, row 2. Row 3, Justin Mons and Bentley Glazier. In row 3 there. Row 4, Doy Woods. I expect him to be good here tonight, alongside Glenn Campbell. Scott Simley, Mike Kelly there in row number 5. As I'll let you take the rest of the field. Go ahead.
Jose Medina and Ron Howfield make up the next row. Doug Rolfe, Tommy Ryan starting in 14th, 15th for Comstock. Another championship contender, Josh Parker, starts 16th, 17th for Jimmy Coleman, and Stoney Benfield to his outside, 18th starting spot. Randy Yoakum, Doug Sigmund running 19th and 20th on the start, and the final field is made up of Brian Worthman and Gerald Livingston.
There you go. So as I mentioned, a little bit of a small field tonight, 22 cars, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have some good racing tonight. Last season, I think you looked it up, we had 36 drivers actually start with 10 cautions. So I think I'm going to take the under on that one tonight. I think we're going to see some great racing here. Again, the second time they've been here now in this next-gen car. Earlier this season was the first. And we're looking forward to seeing some fun here. And go racing here for 200 laps. As there we go, I have fixed the Twitch page, just like that. As I mentioned, 200 laps, just a little over 100 miles in this race from the paperclip of Martinsville. 4 drivers by the end of tonight could be in line to win a championship as we go green from the paperclip. I say 4, but technically any of the 10 of those who are here.
Yep. Daniel's wasted no time here as he's going to jump out front. He knows that he could control the race from the front if he could just run his line. He's made quick work of that, running out in front of the other championship contender who's leading the points, Macklin. Macklin up a little bit high there out of turn number 2. Now he gathers it back up. The 39 able to gain 2 car lengths on him, going off to turn 4 to complete lap number 3.
You saw Jose Medina, looks like started from the pits or something. Not sure what's going on with 24, but he is, I think, on track now officially, and he'll get caught up time-wise here. It always gets tricky as Josh Parker goes around. One of the playoff drivers already over here in turn 3, I believe this is. Brings out the first caution. It's turn 1 and 2, actually, in the Junior Motorsports Ford. That's an oxymoron. But he is okay, it looks like, and drives away here as the first caution comes out on lap number 3. I don't think we'll make it to 10 cautions. But either way, should mention our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. Check them out online on Facebook. And, of course, the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com. Let's see what happens to Josh Parker. Goes down into turn 3 here. He's on the top side. Ron Holyfield there behind him with Jimmy Coleman on his inside. Of course, these cars going to be shifting down the straightaway. And something tells me he downshifted and the car came around on him.
Yeah, single car spin rather unusual from the back of the pack. I'm not sure. It didn't look like he locked up the tires or anything, so I'm agreeing with you. Probably put it in the wrong gear.
I wouldn't call it the wrong gear. He might have shifted too quickly. Let's see. You're not going to use 5th gear on this track, so he's in 3rd right now. Let's just listen. Oh, he popped a 2nd.
Second.
Oh, yeah, he popped it down a 2nd. That spun him out. That will happen.
That'll do it.
There you go. Caution out for the first time. And a little whoopsies there by Mr. Parker. Parker, one of the drivers battling for the championship. Matter of fact, let's show you the points right now, as I do have that graphic here for you as we enter tonight's race. Macklin leads it by 2 over Daniel Falkingham. David Comstock's 4 back. Bentley Glazier 4 back. Now, it's not disrespecting Mike Kelly, Tommy Ryan, Coleman, or Simley, or any of those guys. I mean, obviously, if you're here, you can win it. Obviously, Henderson, Parker, they're probably more in trouble than the other drivers. But the way it's been running right now, you could easily argue it's a 4-car race right now for this championship. But Kelly or Tommy Ryan, any of those guys, even Jimmy Coleman, could realistically get back in this.
Yeah, they're going to need some trouble from some of the other guys tonight. And the way Falkingham and Macklin look so far, they're going to try and put a nail in the coffin for those guys. But, you know, going into Phoenix, it's an open game. Anything can happen. And right now, Falkingham did what he had to do last week. We recounted the fact that he was in a little bit of a hole, just like these guys were. So there's no reason to believe that they can't get out of it. Daniel proved that last week.
Glenn Campbell, not sure if he fell out or something. He had this issue last night running in the top 5 in the truck race at Charlotte, but he has gone behind the wall at lap 4. Brian Wortman and Gerald Livingston have come to pit road. And
I think Glenn had to depart. He was talking about having to take a business trip, so
that's not good.
Yeah.
All right, pace car lights are off. I was a little worried that we might have a Martinsville glitch, which does happen sometimes with the pace car. We got away with it. So Falkingham, Brian Macklin, Joey Jatina, your 3rd place driver, Justin Mons, and the 28 of Doy Woods, your top 5. As we come back to the green flag here at lap number 8. After the first caution. Good launch here. Daniel kind of, I want to say laid back, but Macklin was up ahead, so Daniel was able to launch up there and get the restart here.
Such a tricky place to get a start here is the drivers out front, they get to hammer down, but everybody else kind of waits that pregnant pause to make sure that they don't get a checkup and run over the car in front of them.
Wait, the what?
A pregnant pause. Never heard of that?
I can't say I have. That's a new
That's
one.
when you take a 1 count,
Uh-huh.
2 count maybe,
Interesting.
and then you go.
See, I just do, and it's funny. I get in a bunch of arguments with people that I know about restarts and starts and things, and I've always just said, you know what? When the car goes in front of me, I'll go at that point. I mean,
Yeah, some drivers try to anticipate it and they'll shoot the gap and get the position. You know how hard it is to pass at this racetrack, so you're going to get it on the restart if you can.
we ride on board Tommy Ryan. Third gear all the way to turn 1 here. Run that thing up to 9,700. Poor engine's yelling at him right now.
When you're running in traffic and you have to slow up early because everybody's kind of bottled up, you can run third all the way to the end. Typically, if you're in open track, you'll get about the 3/4 mark and the engine starts screaming. Just pop it into fourth and then drop it down.
Oh,
as
caution
yellow
out.
on the speedway.
Caution for the second time here. Doug Roth. The 43 car has gone for a loop-de-loop, so second caution here. Okay, I take back my comment about the under.
Yeah, there was some discussion about whether or not it would be one of those nights where it would run caution free or whether we would have a rash of these things. And looks like he just tried to overcorrect coming off of 4
Oh,
after
yeah.
the car stepped out.
And then Ron Holyfield tail whips the wall a little bit there in that Smith & Wesson car.
That's just a little breezy.
Yeah,
At this track, it doesn't matter. You could really run the car with quite a bit of damage.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Downforce here.
But talking about that dynamic of shifting, these guys are going to shift tonight, especially if they screw up the corner. They're going to go down a gear. That allows them to get the launch to make up for stalling the car, getting into the corner. We're going to see everybody shifting all night long. I'm pretty sure of it.
I don't agree with necessarily the shifting part of it. I totally understand it, but necessarily don't agree with it. I mean, again, it goes back to, I guess we got to get used to that change that's going on. You know, where we're going to tracks like Texas, Darlington, Martinsville, and we're shifting.
Yeah. Well, here they're using it also to brake the car. You come down, you let
Right.
off the gas, you step on the brake, and you really can't hammer the brake or the left front is going to slide and lock up. So they shift it down and use the engine brake to kind of slow the car and get it to rotate in the center of the corner.
I would be one of those that I'd be one of those meanies that I would come out with a rule that says, all right, no shifting tonight.
See Doug Roth coming off pit road, just beat the pace car. You could tell the pace car is coming because you could see the
Lights.
yellow lights flashing off the wall.
Yeah, that's one way to, if you ever had to worry about lights here at Martinsville, nah, you'd have the pace car. You'd be all under control here. But yeah, Buckingham's led all the laps so far, though. Of course, as I mentioned, his track was a dirt track back in its heyday. Then it was paved into what it looks like today. Of course, the concrete corners now used to be 2 pit road walls. The front straightaway and actually that little stretch right where that iRacing truck is actually used to be the back straightaway pits. But then back around 2000, they decided to make one huge loop-de pit road around the pit road. I kind of would wish Bristol would do something like this because I think that would fix your whole split pit road deal.
This track is deceiving when you sit in the grandstands and you look at it. It looks like every other half mile that you've seen, but the banking on it is quite considerable. It doesn't show from these overhead shots, but there really is quite a bit of banking in these corners.
I believe it's 12 degrees of banking, which is the same as, oh, who's got 12? See, the Brickyard's got 9. The old Vegas used to be 12.
Yeah. Isn't it? It's progressive banking too. It's like 12 to somewhere
I
around
didn't know
20
that if
degrees
that's the
at the top. I believe that's right.
I did not know that if that's the case. But here we go, back to the green flag. Macklin and Falkingham first and second. Jatina, another good restart there as they try to get single file here really quickly. In this race, it's all about rhythm here, and they're getting into a good start rhythm.
Yeah, great qualifying run there for Jatina, starting up front. Track position so key here. That's important. You also get those front pit stalls as, again, we settle in top 5 running nose to tail. Good run for Justin Mons right now.
Ooh,
Running
Yoakum
in
up the
third
track.
position.
Randy Yoakum going up the track
He's
a
in
little bit there.
no
Got
man's
pushed by-
land up
yeah,
there.
pretty much. You want to be on this inside. Go ahead.
Off the pace here, just waiting for a hole.
That's pretty much what you got to do. You want to be right down on that curve. I mean, you can try to get a position at the restart of a race or something like that, but after about 2 laps, you want to be down on that curve and protecting that bottom, because the car could get dancy, and obviously it's going to get tight, and then inside line just starts carrying the momentum.
Yeah, drivers look at this in 10-lap segments or 20-lap segments, and given 200 laps, we're 1/10 of the way through the race. This is where I think psychologically a lot of them just settle in, try and find their marks, let things get sorted out. When you're this close and tight to each other, you tend to run right along the curb, but eventually you'll open up the entry to the corner, meaning go in a little bit higher, break into center, and then turn down and try and extend the straightaway to see if you can get a runoff underneath the car in front of you.
It would be called diamonding the corner, is what you explained there. As Kelly takes the position away from Doy Woods for 6, he pretty much did exactly what you explained there. Went high in and then crossed him over and went to the bottom here and sends Doy up to the top side. And here comes Tommy Ryan. David Comstock's going to come through, so going to push the 28 car back at least 2 or 3 positions. Chad Coleman's going to fill the gap as the 28 slides wide. He needs to get down, and he does.
Tell you, we've talked about Comstock last week just being Mr. Consistency lately and really having good runs, but Tommy Ryan has put on a good show lately. Just any series, he's been steady as a rock. He's been up in that top 5 towards the end, and you know, for whatever reason, he just had some terrible luck. A lot of times through the season, the car gets torn up or whatever, but lately he's been putting a whole package together.
Yeah, Tommy's been getting better and better each week. And last night, I mean, I looked at that race at Charlotte. I mean, he came alive there towards the end of the race and had a shot to get up there, potentially win the thing. Got himself another top 5 finish there. So he's definitely been putting a good series of races together, as Falkingham leads by 3/4 of a second right now on Macklin, who's got about 3/4 on Mons, who's got 1.3 on Jatina. Your best battle is actually going to be back here with your Talladega winner there, Chad Coleman, in the truck side of things, I should say, as he's trying to get to Doy Woods there, and you see Scott Simley behind him, and then behind him Josh Parker, and I noticed a little bit of left side damage I thought I saw on the 81. That might have been a glare.
Could have been maybe from that incident he had. I didn't see him hit anything there.
Yeah.
We're starting to see in some of these shots how much the brakes are glowing. These guys really do use a lot of brake at this racetrack. It doesn't tend to fade as much as we see in the real world, but certainly a consideration for these guys to be careful and take care of their brakes through this race.
And notice you're not seeing the front rotors red. All 4 rotors are red. Usually if you go back to the races in the past cars, usually it's the front brakes that are red. But as we jump out of Coleman's car, as it gets a little loose, you're going to notice that all 4 are cherry.
A little bit of a conveyor belt right now. Everybody kind of stretched out. Now drivers can run their line. And this is where you play rabbit. You just chase the car in front of you. Don't worry about anybody else. But you also play that car tire saving game. You're looking at fuel. You're just trying to mentally prepare the entire race.
Well, yeah, and short tracks, I was having this discussion with somebody, I forget who it was, but I was talking, Josh almost dove it in there on Simley. Short tracks to me, for some reason, I never noticed this until recently, are like the only series of tracks where I'll race at that I get into a rhythm and I actually use markings on the track to both brake and gas. Now, I say that because normally on any other track, I will have markings that I use for braking or slowing down in the corners. Martinsville, Bristol, Richmond, those 3 tracks, for example, I didn't realize this, is I will find a mark where I slow down at, and I will find a mark where I go back to the throttle. And it helps me get into a rhythm, especially a track here like Martinsville. Like, I'll go ahead and point it out as we ride with see Parker here, about right there at the cup sign, I start to slow down. And usually I roll the corner, and about right there at that cup sign, I start going back to the throttle. And down here, it's actually more distinguished. Like I go down here to about that sign right there, the Blue Emu sign, break down to the corner. I roll, and then right here, there's that piece of asphalt that comes back after the grass, and I roll back to the throttle at that point. And that's just the repetition I get into, because I'm a fan of having this car being straight before I go back full throttle, because I just want to be able to trust that rear end is going to stay under me the whole time.
Yeah, sometimes you can pick a point at the outside wall, like say the Geico sign coming off here, and point at the edge of the Geico, and when you get out there, you'll trust that the car will rotate and hook up and drive off straight.
Of course, this is the 811 Cup Series, North Carolina 811 Cup Series, as we ride with the 811 car. Joey Jettina, 4th position right now for him, as they're going to go by the California 811 car of Jose Funky Cole Martinsville Medina. And Jose is 2 laps down right now. 2 cars behind the track. Oh! Mon got checked up a little bit there behind whoever that is, that lap car of Stony Benfield. And they're going to get
There's
around.
a lot of guys here supporting the series that just detest this racetrack. They don't like it. They can't figure it out.
It's a fun track when you get a good run and just get used to running it.
One, if you're not fast and they catch you, then you're in the way, and you can't run the race that you want to race because you're constantly being dinged by drivers who are trying to get around you.
Hey, Darrell Waltrip said it best, okay? If you go to this track and your left side is torn apart, that means you need to get faster and you're too darn slow. If you go to this track and your right side is torn up, that means you're doing a good job and you're passing people.
Yeah. So Falkingham has left everybody kind of at this point. He's been leading from the green flag. Macklin's been chasing him down. Mons is hanging tough in 3rd. Joey Jettina in 4th. And Bentley Glazer quietly sitting there in 5th position, just kind of stalking that top 4.
Yeah, matter of fact, your 4 drivers we talked about, not that, again, we're trying not to focus mainly on 4 because we do got 10 drivers in the playoffs, which, by the way, their colors of their numbers are in green that you see over on the ticker. But the 4 that are closest within the 10 points right now, all within the top 6 of each other. So this is the prime definition, I should say, of the cream rising to the top here. As we're at 44 laps complete here, Martinsville Speedway. As Falkingham's pulled away 2.5 on Macklin, who's got about 5 seconds back to Justin Mons, and then this crew of cars all underneath a blanket here.
I would call that a gaggle.
That's a good gaggle. That's a gaggle.
That's a gaggle. And they're just about to be joined by Justin Parker from that early spin. He's coming up to the back of Mike Kelly to make this, what, a 5-6 car collection
Josh
here.
Parker right there at 10 seconds. Of course, Dory Woods is there. Now, you could argue, okay, so who's holding up the line here? But I don't really see specifically one car backing up the field here. I mean, Mons is kind of stretched out a little bit there, about 7/10, and then you got Jettina's right there as Glazier's trying to get the run. But this is, as Jettina slides up the track here, opens the door for that Mountain Dew car. See if...
Tedious times, because he knows when the 18 goes by, he would love to get down, but the 13's going to follow through, so is the 99. Can he stem the bleeding by getting back in below him? And he does. He's able to close off before Mike Kelly is able to excise the wound.
A whole line of 811 cars right there. As you got Tommy Ryan, as you mentioned, and then Jettina, and then Mike Kelly. And then here comes Josh Parker, who went spinneroonie there on lap 1. And has been able to continue on. Still got 15 cars in the lead lap. Jimmy Coleman being their last right now.
Yeah, and Jimmy Coleman right in front of your leader, only about a car length. Hoping for a caution, wants to stay on the lead lap here and get some fresh tires. You know, this is the stage when you start to assess how hard you ran in this first stint and whether you abused the tires or not. If you did, you're begging for a caution.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you don't want to be the caution. That's the big difference here. But again, only 22 cars started this race, so with that happening, obviously, you know, it kind of lessens up the chance. You give yourself more room out here on the track. And, you know, so far we've only seen the 2 quick cautions, and we've been clean and green here for about, what, 30 laps straight or so, 35 laps straight here under the green flag now as we hit the 1/4 distance.
Buckingham is running just the conventional line early in, wrapping the curb early out, letting the car drift up as he goes down underneath Coleman and takes that position. He's not trying to find speed. He's just rolling the corner all the way through. His car's really turning well.
And that's how you do it. You wrap around that curve and make the corner as long as possible, and then you just drive off and roll back to the throttle. Let's step away for a quick second, and let's hear a word from our, of course, sponsor for the series. This is the North Carolina 811 Cup Series, and let's hear a quick word from those guys.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
Back we are here at Martinsville Speedway as you see the battle going on. This is the 5th, 6th, 7th positions. And let's add 4th place in there now as Glazier, and let's add 3rd place in there. Justin Mons now in this battle. 5, 6 cars, a conglomerate. There's another word for you, of cars. I don't even know if that word makes sense in that sentence, but I just put it in there. Sometimes you do what you got to do. As Comstock goes around Stony Benfield there for position, but here we are, just past the 1/4 distance in this race. In this North Carolina 811 Cup Series, as caution is out, somebody went spinning, and it is Stony Benfield. The 75 car goes around, bringing out the 3rd caution.
Yeah, the North Carolina 811 call before you dig forward, doing a loop-de-loo there.
Unfortunately, it's not called before you spin. Let's see what happens.
Really didn't spin it. I'm surprised this brought across and it just kind of got sideways there.
This is where we talk about sometimes the way iRacing. Oh, he just, you know, he might have just too much
top
brake.
at the
Oh,
yaw.
yeah, just went too much in the yaw, and that brought the caution out there. So that's going to bring
This, an interesting mix for a lot of these guys. As someone like Jimmy Coleman is going to welcome this.
Yes, he'll likely get the lucky dog. There he goes. As the leaders come to pit road here, as I mentioned, the whole wraparound pit road, which has its ups and downs to it, believe it or not. You can actually do some tricks on here that I've learned from my time on iRacing.
So do tell.
Well, like for instance,
the
if you're
cut
in
through
an official race or whatever, or you're in a series that says, hey, you got to stay to your right to your pit box. Well, technically, as you roll into the corner of the track, you can go right up next to the pit box and take the shortest way around the pit road turn before you get to your pit box. Not that I've done that before, but it is something like you see Jimmy Coleman. Look what he's doing right there on the screen. There's no pit boxes there, so he just cut all the way down the yellow line there and rolled right on around. the shortest way through pit road is getting to the far inside
Shortest
part of the
path
track.
between 2 points. Yep.
So I'm just saying. So there's things you can do at this track, and it's not the only track you can do it at. There's so many different tracks that you can do so. All right, let's find a driver to talk to real quickly while we have a quick minute. And that driver shall be Tommy Ryan. Let's get Tommy up here. And in that 99 car, battling pretty hard right now. And Tommy, obviously right now running in the 6th position, started 14th, looking pretty sporty so far in that 99 car, but more wanted to reach out to you because we're in Virginia, and by God, you got the 811.com on that car.
Yeah. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't have a whole lot of practice in the car. I was trying to fix a little technical issue with my pedals, but yeah, it's driving fine. It's you got to get the tires up to temperature before they'll actually start digging in the corner, and just curious to see what the right rear is going to do after a while.
Do you call before you dig in the corner?
Absolutely.
So for the drivers there, for people watching maybe for the first time tonight that are hearing about this North Carolina 811.org Cup Series, why is it important to call before you dig?
Well, the first thing is because it's the law, and the second thing is if you get down there and hit a power line with a metal shovel, it might might throw you for a couple yards.
That's a good way of putting it in a nutshell. So hey man, we're going back green flag here, so best of luck.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
I just pictured me like going flying like 30 feet. All right, let's move Tommy to his room. Unacceptable racing as we go back to the green flag. Lap number 65, Falkingham has led pretty much them all. Brian Macklin, Justin Mons, Bentley Glazier, Tommy Ryan. Your top 5.
Pretty decent start for everybody. Still side by side here, trying to scrap for a couple of those positions on the restart.
Yeah,
We
Mons
got
trying.
4 fresh tires.
Yeah,
Gonna feel good.
they're gonna feel good for a lap or two. As you see, Mons trying to look inside on Brian Macklin here. Lean on each other just a little bit. You see Comstock back there, and I just saw one car go sideways. It looked like Parker maybe off Glazier.
Oh, big
Oh,
move
Macklin
by
up the
Macklin
track.
out to the outside wall. That's going to cost quite a few positions in the stack up over there. Kelly trying to get around. Glazer trying to get around. Jatina going to see if he can take advantage of it too.
Here, Macklin, you guys got to be careful here. Just get back into a rhythm. Obviously,
Just
you're going
missed
to
the corner, yeah. I don't know. There's another one missing the corner as Mons gets punted into the wall.
Oh, easy, Justin. It gets into the outside wall just a little bit there in that gamer car. But yeah, this track will do that to you if you overdrive the corner, or if somebody gives you the old nerf. You'll chrome
I think
horn.
he got a little bit of help there, Mons.
Ooh.
He left the door open and wow, he definitely got tagged.
Oh, right there, you see the 30 walks up the track a little bit, lost the back end. That's what caused him to go up the track. And then a lap later, Comstock battling Mons.
Yeah, Comstock
Hey,
tagged there.
got a little help there.
Yeah.
Now, let's see, did something set that up? Because sometimes to get a chrome horn, you have
Back one around over on the corner as we see also who? Comstock was in the wall over there too.
We'll have to come to that here in a
Yellow
second.
out.
Yellow out for the 4th time, so... All right, so yeah, in that situation, Mons committed late to the inside lane, and Comstock was already committed, and he gave what do they call it in iRacing, a yeet job. But yeah, Brian Macklin just went around. That brings out the 4th caution.
Yeah, and Comstock spun off of turn 2 all by himself at the exact same time. So he's actually fortunate to get a break in the action and collect his car and get back into this.
This is, he caught the curve. I saw his left rear kiss the curve a little bit there, and that brought him around. This is one of those things where he's probably a little flustered, a little irritated about screwing himself up the track there a few laps ago, turn 3. And the one thing you cannot do is make a situation worse. And unfortunately there, he got lucky twice. And but he is going to fall to the back of the field. But watch really closely here. His left rear going into turn 3. One thing you don't want to do is touch the curve. Oh, never mind. I stand corrected. He did not hit the curve. I thought he did from the other angle. And you saw Comstock go yippee off the side. So 2 of the drivers within 10 points of the points leader go for separate self spins. Say that 3 times fast. And bring out the fourth caution. Yeah, right?
It just feels like maybe, one of the things we know is, and we just heard Tommy Ryan talk about it, when the tires are cold, it takes a bit for them to come in. You could make them angry if you're slip sliding away. And both of those drivers had a little bit of tay-to-tay there after that restart. Maybe Macklin's tires weren't fully on board yet, but strange to see drivers with such driving acumen have problems right after this restart.
Well, and also at the same time, remember, Macklin got loose just a couple laps ago going into turn 3. He might have had that right rear a little hot at him, if you know what I mean. So that could have easily have added to the situation too. Could have been a shifting thing. There's so many different factors that could come into play here. But 75 laps out of the 200 here. Again, next, actually, let me double check the schedule because I did notice that Sunday the Truck Series is off. I believe we are off next Monday night, and we return the following Monday to crown a champion.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
In the series, because I noticed Sunday we're off for Thanksgiving, at least the week of, so get your turkeys now. As they pull up the website here, sim500.com. In case you didn't know, you can go check out that website.
No, we're back next week.
November 21st. Yep, that's next Monday. So, yeah, next Monday we will race.
7 days, we'll crown a champion.
Phoenix Raceway, yeah, for 250 kilometers of racing.
Kilometers.
Kilometers. I don't know of any other ways to say it. It's like photograph, or is it like for a photographer or a photographer?
You take a photograph. If you take photographs, you are a photographer. How's that?
Sure. All right, Daniel leads him back to the green flag here in lap 76. Josh Parker, who was the first one to go spinning early in this race, is now second.
That's a change in fortunes, isn't it?
Well,
Parker is so aggressive here.
Well, and he's going to wash himself up the track just a little bit here. Mons up the track. There goes Glazier up the track.
You could tell by how nervous the car is. He's hustling it. He's trying to get all the speed he can to the outside to see if he can hold that second position, keep that track position. Comstock could run up off the corner. They're side by side going into 3. Comstock's got a nose ahead. He should have the advantage, but the car is pinched down coming up off the corner. That gives the outside the ability to get a run, and it was a dead heat at the start-finish line.
That's the only way you're going to be able to take that position, but he has not completed the pass. Eventually, it's going to go to the inside lane here. Usually, it's about a lap or 2. He needs to get down the track now, or else Comstock might take that spot from him. He does clear him finally, so nice job by Parker. The only problem is they've already lost about a year and a half of speed to Daniel Falkingham. As he's
Parker just drove it in a little bit harder than Comstock, kept them pinched down, able to get that position away.
Which, if you're David, you're like, look, okay, I'll give you the spot right now. It's only lap 81. Still got 120 laps to go. You're battling for a championship. Josh Parker is 10th in points. He is 60-something points behind. He is going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at you to pass you, where David Comstock, you can kind of take a step back and say, all right, I get the situation right now. I'll sit back here and race in third right now. Totally makes sense.
Yes, so many things go through your head when that situation's going on. One, Parker has a reputation for being aggressive, so he's not going to yield. You're trying not to wear your stuff out, and you do wear your stuff out racing side by side with him in the early laps. Sometimes the better part of valor is just let him go and chase him back later.
Ooh, Macklin tried to dive outside of Glazier there as Glazier had to check up off Coleman and see if the crossover's coming here from the 30. Not able to get the drive off. And
yeah, looking out the windshield at that 38. Keep an eye on him. He's just quietly coming up here.
And that's part of the thing, too, with the shifting here. And another reason why I'm not the biggest fan of it is if you make a mistake and slide up the track like Glazier just did, you can downshift to third and still carry the speed off. But Macklin's going to launch it in there and take the 4th position away, or make that the, 8th position. Samsonite, I was way off.
Yeah, Glazer not only yielded the position, but missed the corner, drifted way up to the outside, had to let off to keep from catching the outside wall, and by the time he got to the start-finish line, he was 2 car lengths behind.
You know what that tells me? He's driving it too deep. Oh, and around goes Justin Mons. Can he save it? He does save it, and we stay green.
Some nights you're the bug, and other nights you're the win.
Right?
Yeah, something seemed funny there. Change gear, something wrong with that car stepping out the way it did.
Well, you got to wonder if he maybe irritated that right rear again.
It just broke free. It almost looked like he missed a shift, or like earlier we saw with Parker. Same thing with the way the car snowed.
Let's see if we can get a peek of it real quick of what happened here with the 49. He's free wide here with Doy Woods and Macklin. You know, this is actually...
Rest your wall.
Let's go up a little ahead here. I think we're a little too far back. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. That thing snapped. Let's...
Didn't find a curve or anything.
No, that looked awfully...
Although a strange place to shift. So...
Well, let's see. He's in 3rd gear here. Goes down to the corner. You know what? That's one of those, remember, I guess the $1 question is, how much of a difference do you have in gearing between 3rd and 4th gear? Because you got a higher rev coming out of the corner there, which causes wheel spin. And if, of course, he's got the wheel really turned for turning in, coming out of that corner, it will create the car to spin out.
Yeah, we have to talk about Daniel Falkenkamp right now. He's just on cruise control. Right now, leading the race. He's got a good advantage, probably a half straightaway over the 81 of Josh Parker. They've got a quarter straightaway over David Comstock. Tommy Ryan's hanging tough in that 4th position right now. And here comes Mike Kelly in the 811 dig number 2 into the picture for the top 5. Joey Jattina having a good race, but has slipped back behind the 2 car, just kind of pacing himself. You know, Joey, as of late, has just been working on his craft, and he's getting faster and faster as the year goes on.
He's done a good job with that. The biggest, I think, downfall for Daniel tonight is going to be the amount of cars in this race, because of the, you know, the most anyone is really going to be able to lose tonight if, say, hypothetically something happens, is when you look at it, Glenn Campbell and Ron Holyfield, the only 2 off the track, you're going to finish 20th. Where normal fields, we've been having 30 to 35 cars. So the loss tonight, or the chances of gaining a great amount of points, are not as much because of the lack of the field size here. So when you look at David Comstock running 3rd right now, Brian Macklin running in 7th, Bentley Glazier running in 9th, you know, the chances of them finishing in those positions or in that range of positions is a lot greater than falling down to 20th. So Daniel, he can lead all the laps he wants. He can lead the most laps. He can lead every lap. He can do whatever he wants and win this race, and he's not going to gain as much.
Cushion, that's all he's going to
Right.
get. You got to watch this 30 car. He is just beating the back bumper off of the 14.
We're both watching this one. Trans Service, number 30. Actually, the points. Oh, he got a real good run off there. Joey had to check up, it looked like. Joey lets him go. That is a good Martinsville pass right there. Joey minimized the amount of time losing in the corner by just, you know what, letting him go and getting right behind him.
Yeah, if I'm Ryan Macklin, I have kept score all night long. I know that Daniel's out front. He's got to be within a couple points going into Phoenix in order to have a shot. That's got to be what his mindset is. And the fact that Joey was in front of him and now Mike Kelly's in front of him, he's just going to do yeoman's work through the remainder of this race. we're approaching halfway. He's got the other half to get back up there and tussle with that number 39.
Which, yeah, he made some mistakes. He was up there in the top 2 earlier and, of course, fell back by almost spinning out in turn 3. But here's the one thing that you can do. You can sit here and think about it all you want to. You can sit here and think about it for a whole entire week. But when you're in that number 30 car right now, what can you control? You can control what goes on in that 30 car. You can't control what Mike Kelly's doing in front of you. You can't control what Joey Gittina's doing behind you. You can control what you're doing in that 30 car. If you sit there and you stew over the fact that Daniel's leading this race and you got to get back up there, you're going to make more mistakes. And Stoney Benfield goes around. 75 on the front straightaway brings out the 5th caution. Right at halfway.
Just watching out of the corner of my eye, the Pro Systems Brakes Camaro of Doug Sigmund captured the curve down there and bounced off it, but he was able to grab a gear and drive through. He's just having a quiet race, running in 16th right now on the lead lap.
Hey, look at Doug, top 20 guaranteed.
The last couple races, just see, and again, you watch and measure the season by how drivers do. You know, sometimes you see them run 20 to 25th, and they move up to 15th to 20th, and then 10th to 15th, and so on. And, you know, or are they going backwards? Hard to say. And Doug's one of those guys this year that has been moving up the ranks.
As we see Falkingham come to pit road, Tommy Ryan, Brian Macklin, Jattina, Coleman, Glazier, Josh Parker stays out. David Comstock stays out. Mike Kelly stays out. Doug Sigmund stays out. And thank you, Mr. Fowler, for the kind words on Facebook, watching over there.
39 drops in. He's going to go for 4 tires and fuel, I'm sure. As Macklin's right behind him. Jattina came in. Chad Coleman going to get new shoes.
So, $1 million question for you, Mr. Kevin. You've been to Martinsville. Have you partaked in any Martinsville hot dogs?
Absolutely.
Is it worth it?
Of course.
Is it worth the $2?
Yes, my friend. You must
All right.
partake when you're there. You must.
Do you do the full all out that they put on there? Or do you
Oh,
have
yeah, all the way.
All right.
You know, when you're in Jersey and you go get a cheesesteak, you know, you have that wit and all that stuff. You just say, give it all. Put it all on there.
See, this is where I disappoint people. I am Mr. Generic. So that's where I wonder if I'll ever pass the hot dog test at Martinsville. Like, yeah, you can go give me a cheesesteak all you want, yeah, but you can keep the peppers and onions to yourself.
No.
That's me. I'll put lettuce, tomato, and mayo on it, but you can keep the
If
peppers.
you're in Philly standing at Gino's, you just wave your hand and they know what you mean. Come on.
How do you wave your hand? That's the question here. Is there like a
Hey,
certain wave?
forget about it. That's how
Okay,
you
all
wave.
right. So that kind of wave. Got it. All right.
Hey, forget about it. Yeah. Give one of those.
Nice. That's like here in Georgia. I'll walk in or I'll be at work or something like, I think I might get a pie this afternoon or this evening. And I'm not from New York, by the way. I'm from Florida. But marrying into an Italian family from New York, I've learned you're not going to get pizza. You want a pie.
You want a pie?
I'm going to go get a pie. And others are like, what kind of pie are you getting? Pumpkin? Apple? Pineapple? I mean, no, I'm going to get a pie, a pizza. You know, it's kind of like when you go to, you know, the Midwest. It's like, hey, man, I want to go get a soda. They're going to look at you like, what? No, it's pop. I think that's where, I forget who it is, Ron White or one of the country comedians. They're like, it's where Coke gets the advantage of being a name brand type of thing because everybody's like, I'm just going to go get a Coke.
Out of Atlanta.
That's true. Right down the road, yeah. All right, so David
I
Comstock.
have to ask you, do you know what a belly bomb is?
I do. As Parker, Comstock, Falkingham, Kelly, and Macklin going to be your top 5 here. As we come back to the green flag. Don't spin the tires here, by the way. First, second, and third. Last pitted, lap 61. Everybody else under this caution. Let's see how the tires work. I was more disappointed, actually, to find out, like the week after the event happened, that Atlanta hosts a grilled cheese event. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm talking to a grilled cheese connoisseur right here.
Gouda. You gotta put Gouda on your grilled cheese. These guys are
Oh,
side by
Tommy
side,
locks
and
him up
fucking
against
them
it to
get tagged.
Daniel.
Oh, Daniel's gonna lock it down. Just tap the back, and wow, this is
Tommy,
where he starts
yeah.
shaking his head.
Tommy locked him up. He did everything he could to stay off Daniel. You could see the left front was locked up.
Yep. So easy to lock the left front trying to hustle the car into the corner. That's really not a matter of ever driving. It's just every once in a while these guys talk about the fact that they go in there 20 times, and on the 21st time, that left front locks up and you just slide the corner.
And this is where you get in trouble because Daniel's been up front all race. He lost the track position. Watch here. You're going to see Tommy lock up the left front, and the car's going to go straight up the track and just noses into him. And Daniel just kind of backs it into the wall. I don't see really any damage at all. This is one of those, you know what, go on to pit road. You're in the back of the field now. He's coming in right now. Go in, get the damage fixed. You don't necessarily need tires.
You did slide the tires, though. I'm not sure if that could be a detriment to
I don't know, you know,
and
and
it's
that's
probably 99%.
I've always heard a mix on that, and I still don't know what to believe here. Do you really flat spot the tires on iRacing? I've heard yes. I've heard no. So he just got the damage fixed and leaves. Yeah, so Gerald Livingston on pit road. But I've never honestly gotten a true answer to that.
I could tell you that if you do some sort of self-spin and correct, say at a Daytona or something, someone tags you, you slide. When you go in and change your tires, after having just done it, let me reset that. Let's say you come off pit road, go down to turn one, somebody tags you, you go for the big slide, and you go in and change your tires. You'll see a lot of tire wear. That's Daytona sliding through the banking. I don't know if what he just did, this self little loop-de-loop there. The good news for him is he didn't back it in and kill it. But no, let's talk about what we didn't talk about all night long because it wasn't a consideration. All the drivers who wanted to make points on Daniel, they're there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now Daniel is the one having to play what Macklin was trying to do before. Every car needing to get up and get even and possibly get back up there. So he maintains some semblance of being in contest with the rest of these top guys going into Phoenix.
Facing adversity right here. This is exactly what the meaning of it is. You're going to restart back around 15th position right now. You've got David Comstock, you've got Brian Macklin, and Bentley Glazier in the top 7 right now, 3rd, 4th, and 7th. And there's Daniel Falkingham going to restart likely from the 15th position here. And this is, again, the situation where you say, I can't make the situation worse than it is. It's so easy to do. I've done it so many times in a race. And it kind of goes back to when you wake up in the morning, okay? You woke up late for work, right? So the next reaction you make waking up late from work is going to determine how much better or how much worse the day's going to be. You determine that you're going to panic, right? Then all of a sudden, now you just ran your toe into the side of the wall.
Yeah.
Now you're late for work and potentially broken your toe. So now how are you going to each moment gets worse and worse if you react that way. This is that test now for Daniel Falkingham. So Josh Parker brings him in. I wish I would preach myself that, by the way, on some nights. Anyways, Parker going back to the green leads this race over Kelly, Macklin, Comstock, and Tommy Ryan. 5 playoff drivers up here in the front. We'll keep an eye on Falkingham.
He's just got to make sure that if there's trouble in front of him, he's not going to be a part of it. He's diving low down underneath the 49 as they're running side by side. Good run for Joey Jattina. Come back into 5th position right now. He's trying to cover Bentley Glazier to ensure that he's not there. As Macklin slides up, here
Nice
comes
move.
Comstock to the bottom.
Very nice move as Comstock goes to the bottom of the crossover. He did that last night to somebody at Charlotte, too.
With a
Oh,
crash over
crash
there
in
in
the
turn
back.
3. Wow.
Doug Roth goes around. There goes the cone.
There's
And-
another crash on the front stretch with who? Jattina going around at the start finish
no.
line. Wow, there's going to be a lot of discussion in post race after this one.
Yeah, it's Martinsville. Why wouldn't there be? Jimmy Coleman taking his car behind the wall.
Falkingham just, I don't know if that was a pile drive or what. Coleman was blocking him, and
Uh-oh. Are you trying to say this involved?
We'll see.
Oh, wow.
And he goes across and collects the 12, another point contender.
So 5 drivers and a cone involved. See, that's, again, this is that exact what we talked about here. How do you react to where you are position-wise? Obviously, he knows he's in trouble in the 15th position at that point. So how do you react? Look what happens here.
This is reminiscent of the Wayland Modified Championship this year, where the driver got sent down in turn 3. You saw that on Flow Racing. Similar incidents.
What happened to Joey? So, obviously, the young man knows what he's doing. Now, was that the smartest decision in the world? Maybe not. But, you know, unfortunately, the situations happen, and I'm sure he's going to have some drivers angry at him now. Oh! And Macklin's the other car involved here. Got into the side of Jatina and them come together coming off the corner.
I don't know what to make of that. I mean, Macklin's all the way to the outside, almost against the wall. I'm
I
not
wonder
sure
if Joey just maybe lost focus for a second, didn't realize he was up there. I mean, that could...
Well, the 30 was up high in the corner. Maybe Joey thought he was stalled more so.
Yeah, maybe. That's just unfortunate deal there.
Caution was out, so does he come back to his position?
Well, I see Joey's still 5th right now. So, let me ask this question. Because I was about to bring the point up when this wreck happened. You know you're the fastest car in this field. I don't think anybody can argue that. So, when you're in that situation, it's one that I've not been in much, so I don't know really how to think about this. Like, I'm sitting there in my head saying, okay, this is the way you should react, but then there's the other part of me, it's like, do you think like that in a car, Chris? But it's like, you would think he might pace himself, let this field kind of spread out, and then pick the cars off. But instead, it seems like he might be more in I need to get to the front now mode.
He's always in I need to get to the front now mode, always. And I don't say that in a bad way. When it comes to restarts, he's going to take every inch of the racetrack if he can. Gets him in trouble sometimes, but, you know, also we know how hard it is to pass, fastest car or not. He just was looking to see if he can get underneath the 54, and he generally is not going to lift. Got a fast car, he's going to use the speed.
80 laps to go here as we go back to the green flag. 79 to go. Parker, good restart on Kelly.
There's one other condition. There's a lot of people, when they see him, will just give him the space. They know he's coming and he's not going to be, he's almost relentless in that way. Another driver that has that is EJ O'Rourke. He just is going to kill you every single time, no matter what.
You know what? He's another driver had a great race last night. I mean, he started...
Good jump by Parker. He's out front, leading. You see this tussle back there for about the 8th, 9th position. Falkingham is under the 99. There, the first car is running side by side, trying to get to Bentley Glazer. Mike Kelly's quietly snuck his way into that second position.
Yeah, yes. He's been very consistent all night. David Comstock's been right there. Really hasn't made many mistakes. But yeah, out of all the drivers in the top 5, Mike Kelly's been the one who's been there and has not, like, made a whoopsies at all. He's just kind of kept that 2-car clean and just riding right there. As here's Daniel trying to get around Glazier now for the 6th position.
Watch his entry to the corner. He's going to be up high and then turn the car down and see if he can get a run.
Justin Mons with another issue. Literally in the middle of the straightaway, the car just hung a left. So I don't know, again, if it was a shifting deal or... That 49's torn up now.
Problem for the 30 of Macklin held up the 14 and the 99. Falkingham was able to get past both of them in that little skirmish. He's up to 5th right now.
What happened to Mons here? See that? Bam!
Yeah.
The car just turned, like, he got loose, and then the car just hung a left.
I've done that before.
Hit that thing a ton. All right, here's the top two in points right here, 4th and 5th.
Parker on cruise control right now. When he's out in control of the race, he looks a lot like Falkingham did, just quietly putting good fast laps down, keeping himself out of trouble. Got clear racetrack in front of him for quite a while now.
This might seem like a Mike Kelly type of race, though, as Kelly could maybe save his tires here and go get them later on. As Macklin pushed up a little bit, 1 and 2, as Daniel gets to his bottom here. Let's see how tight they push each other. Daniel got to his door there, and he makes the pass. Macklin going to try to cross him back over.
Daniel needs to drive away from him a little bit so he has the cushion that he doesn't get bumpered in this corner, and he was able to achieve that objective.
You know the trick how to do that, right? You brake check the person mid-corner.
Yeah, ease up coming out of the corner where they have to run slow, and then you get the run.
Park the bus.
30 around, noses into the backstretch wall. Everybody else taking evasive action. Oh! Got creamed by the 8 of Randy Oakham.
What in the world? And once again, middle of the straightaway.
You're just on the throttle coming up
right
off
front
the
is
corner,
torn.
right to the edge. He wanted to get going before he got lapped, but I'm telling you what, that car is junk.
Yeah, right front.
Pretty sure he broke a toe link. Yep. You could telltale when he will not turn going into the corner. Macklin's in huge trouble right now.
He gets loose off, and Glazier's involved too. And then, oh boy, ouch.
That's what did in the 30 car. I don't know how Macklin recovers.
This
is catastrophic.
That's huge. Yeah, that's good. Well, again, the best part of this situation is there's not many cars here. But let's
He's going to go back to at least the 15th or 20th position now by the time this is done.
So he gets loose off the corner. That's what causes everything to happen here. I don't know if they're just wanting any communication or something to Randy at all.
There was a car in front of Randy, and it ducked out
Right.
to the left, and all of a sudden there was a 30 in front of him.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's almost like, because sometimes you get into a race, you might hear somebody say, hey, car spun here or whatever, or wreck in turn 1 or whatever here. So, yeah, in this case, it's because I was watching Randy to see when he figured out this wreck happened, but it's one of those things where it happened so late that, yeah, you can't blame him for it.
30 may
Bam.
have retired from the race, if I'm not mistaken.
We shall see.
Yeah, the yellow flag was out for some time. I guess that just the spotter did not tell him that there was a car stopped up
Which
there.
most of them don't. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, when you look at any of the spotters on iRacing when it comes to real life or to, I mean, you literally got to have a human being in there to say, hey, there's a car stopped topside turn 1 or topside front straightaway. You don't have, you know, the crew chief or whatever apps don't sit there and say that kind of
you
stuff.
have the fortune of being in a room where others are near the incident
Right.
and they'll say car crash. But, you know, in all defense to Randy, he comes off the corner. He sees the 18 probably left, thinks that's the reason for the caution. No idea that the other car is up there. And then all of a sudden, there's a 30 in the middle.
Oh yeah,
of the race.
and I'm not blaming Randy at all for that situation. And then again, you also look at his Discord right now. It's just him and Tommy Ryan. Tommy's in the 5th position, missing the wreck. So, you know, Tommy's got his own wreck to miss. He can't sit there and say, hey, he's high, or whatever, and then Randy's there. So there's a lot of factors in that play. So it's just an unfortunate deal there for Brian Macklin, who, yeah, it looks like right now his car is off track, and he's at least 3 laps down. So he is going to take a pretty big bump, unfortunately, in the points after this race. But Parker still leads here. Comstock, Daniel Falkingham, Bentley Glazier, Tommy Rhines, your top 5. And Mr. Kevin, look who's in 10th.
Yeah.
Jose Medina, who started on pit road and has been 3 laps down, I think, at one point tonight, is in the 10th position in the California 811 cars. We go back green, Parker leading. 64 laps to go.
A couple of these guys have some bumps and bruises. We'll have to see whether their cars are going to perform well enough for them. I think they're going to be okay at this point.
And of course, this is the part of the race where the action's going to pick up too. As you see, the 811 cars running pretty well here tonight. Tommy Ryan up there in the 4th position. Joey Jatina there in 7th. Mike Kelly's there in 9th. How about Doug Sigmund up into the top 10? He's not an 811 car, but he's running well. And here comes Daniel for 2nd inside of Comstock. Will Comstock give him the crossover? I might have to title that the Comstock crossover.
Comstock still just trying to be a nuisance, hanging tough. He's not pitching Daniel down so much. Daniel did drive off.
Oh, he got tight off. David got tight off.
It's hard to get a good run and get the car to turn off the late exit of the corner. Might even cost him 3rd, but no, he's going to drive around the 99 and keep that position.
And the reason that being, and it's kind of weird with these cars, is you raise the nose off the ground when you get to the throttle. But part of this car, in a way, you want to get the nose off the ground. Oh, Tommy locks it up and net codes. Oh,
Holy cow, that was close.
There was some net code there, but Tommy locked him up and kept it off the 13. And that's going to end up losing a spot, I think, for Tommy. That was a
Don't look up front there, man. Here comes the 39 looking to the bottom.
that was a monster.
The 81 missed the corner, and the 39's just going to drive around him.
You wonder if Josh was mirror driving a little bit there.
P1, Daniel Falkingham, one more time. What a way to get there.
See, and right there kind of goes back to, I'm not going to criticize, first things first, I'm not going to criticize somebody who's in a contender series and is probably going to be in the, close to being, if not will be in the Coke series next season. So you're not going to hear me say, what was Daniel thinking at this moment? But I think there is a little something to be had in this situation. And where my point in this is he restarted 15th, and on the restart they were 3 wide, and he decides to drive deep into the 54, and unfortunately they wreck. Where if he would have treated that restart like the last 2 restarts, he might be leading this race right now, and we've been green for 30 laps.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was.
You
right.
just don't know.
Right. If's a 2-letter word as big as the world.
I'll tell you who wants it back is Jimmy Coleman. Probably feel like he didn't deserve that, but then again, there's 2 sides to every story, and only the drivers inside those helmets know what really occurred there. And you know, we could Monday morning quarterback the whole thing, but
Would that be
we're
Tuesday
moving on,
morning for
and
us?
Daniel's back out front
Would that be Tuesday for us?
Tuesday morning.
Yes.
Every morning.
All right, Sugar Ray. Last time at Epcot he performed it. So your top, well, pretty much everybody single file right now. Logging laps, 54 laps to go. I'm glad I didn't put any money on this race. Not that I ever do. I said I would take the under at 10 cautions. We're at 8 right now. Somewhere Jim Carrey's like, so you're saying there's a chance.
Buckingham exits turn number 4, last car at the racetrack, exiting turn 2. So he's got
Plenty of room.
a bit of a racetrack, clear racetrack for him. And these laps are going to tick off so quickly that I don't believe that lap traffic, if we stay green, is going to be a challenge for him. And not only that, he's got enough cushion out front that when he does encounter him, he can take his time, pick and choose his lines, and move around him. So really the focus here is going to be what's going to happen in the top 5. How's that going to take out on the long run?
We ride with Jatina here in the 8th position right now. Doy Woods putting some pressure on him. Watching this battle here, Tommy Ryan's been on the back of the 18 car here. And now you see the tires are starting to wear on the 81 potential as Comstock is all over him. So he tries to make moves here. So again, next Monday night, Phoenix Raceway, the final race of the Cup Series regular season. We'll crown ourselves a champion.
If we look at Comstock, Going back to February 12th, 10th, 12th, 21st, 16th, there's the 33rd in there. But in the last bunch of races, 9th, 6th, 12th, 2nd, 9th, 3rd, I mean, just racking up
A
those
lot better
top 10,
average.
running in the top 10, got a win back at Michigan, and just has had a really good, solid season of runs.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten better and better. His luck has definitely turned his way, and
There's a lot of single digits in that finish
yeah,
column.
at the end especially. Yeah, no, that's a fair point to say. And again, he's doing his best right now to minimize the damage. So is Bentley Glazier. You know, these guys, obviously Macklin's going to lose the points lead with his situation there just a few laps back. So, I mean, if this race hypothetically ends right now, which there's no way to prove it, obviously Daniel would take the points lead, but it would be less than 5 between he, Comstock, and Glazier going to Phoenix. So, and I remember a FEG Xfinity Series race at Phoenix earlier this year where Falkingham was leading, and I believe it was Josh Adams in the 56 car was racing him. They made contact towards the end of the race, and Adams ended up winning the race.
This battle for second will not go away
it
here.
won't.
Comstock got a nose underneath. He's to the door. Now they're even coming through the corner out to turn 2. Comstock noses ahead. Parker's still hanging tough to his quarter panel, but just inch by inch, Comstock trying to take this position, and he's going to clear him out of turn 4. Not brave enough to move up.
I wouldn't either. Yeah.
Good call on his part. Be patient. You know you're going to get it here out of turn 2. It looks like he's clear.
Yeah, he
Can
should be able
move
to
up and choose the lane. Still didn't do it.
I would, yeah. He's being safe here. I have no problem with that. And Parker goes way up the track now, so he's going to lose a couple spots here. He's gonna lose
Yeah, that
third,
opened the
gonna
door.
lose fourth.
Laser slip through.
Parker's
Here
just got to
comes
regroup. He's got to
Chad
understand.
Coleman.
He's got to understand here that his tires are 20, 30 laps older than these guys here. He needs to just get back into a rhythm, settle down, and he can potentially, if he gets a yellow here, he can get back to pit road and put 40 balonies on there and go rock and roll. But right now, he's at a disadvantage here, so he's got to take what he can get. And unfortunately, the dirtier the air, yes, it does exist here, the worse that car is going to feel.
Yeah, it may seem, contrary to what we were just talking about, how fast the laps could go. 40 laps is like a Saturday night feature. So if you put tires on and can get some track position, you could probably get yourself back up to a top 10, top 5 finish if the yellow were to come out right now. But as the racetrack looks, it sure has a green look to it. Not green in color, of course.
I know what you meant. And not the radar either. As Mike Kelly in the PBG Menards 811 car, running in the 6th position here behind Chad Coleman. And real quickly, let's step away just for a quick second here. Another word from our sponsors here from the North Carolina 811.org.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on NC811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are here at Martinsville Speedway. Virtually on iRacing as Josh Parker has come to pit road here. And let's see if this is a straight up 4 tires and fuel stop. Okay, he's sitting there a little longer, it looks like. So, yeah, I think Parker might be done, unfortunately. Yep, he's going to tow to pit. Yep, he's towing, so he's done. So Parker, unfortunately, has figured out, you know what, I don't think I'm going to win this race, and maybe that's what he's saying, hey, I'm here for that, and that's it, and walks away, unfortunately, from the race. So tough deal there for Josh. Good effort for him in that 81 car, but not to be tonight. There's your leader, Daniel Falkingham, 6.1 second lead over this battle for second that now has 3 cars involved. The Monster Energy Camaro of David Comstock, of course, the Mountain Dew Chevrolet Bentley Glazier, and the North Carolina, or I should say Virginia 811, number 99 of Tommy Ryan. Chad Coleman running 5th, Mike Kelly 6th, Jatina 7th, as Brian Wortman goes up and gets out of the way. I about said the words that we've made it all the way so far and have not said yet.
Yeah, don't.
He's about done it twice now. Don't do it, Wortman.
Brian's got creative pit strategies like I did last night. I didn't pit for tires when everybody else did, and that was not the right play.
Hey, forever. Yeah,
Plus, I hit the wall in lap 2 coming off, hustled the car.
That was not an easy setup for you guys though last night. I mean, the
was
Charlotte
a
truck
tough-
setup is fun,
Yeah.
but when you got 134-degree track temperature at one point last night, that ain't gonna be pretty.
I want to talk about Doug Roth, currently running in the 16th position. You got to give credit to some of these guys. You
Yeah.
just come out every week to support the series. They have good runs here and there, and other times they're working on their craft. I noticed Doug changed the paint scheme on this car recently. Pretty sharp looking Eddie-esque
colors, yeah.
throwback in that number 43. And just, this is when you talk about the drivers that come in, we're in November. There's one more race left in the season, and I don't know how many races he's missed, but this is one of those drivers that's just here to make the call every week, and it's fun to race with Doug. He's one of the guys that's just here and in the fabric of Sim500. And there's a place for drivers like this here. We run so many nights a week at this series with different cars, and guys like Doug show up and they make it fun for everybody.
Yeah, and those are the drivers, some that I think eventually I'll get to know a little bit. I mean, I've gotten to know a decent amount of the drivers in this league here in the first year of being a part of this series. I mean, it was right about this time last year that I came aboard Sim500, and when we put the Super Speedway series together, we were doing on Sunday nights last season. And, I got to know some of the, guys at that point. And, obviously, I've tried to have a good rapport with them and be able to joke with them and talk to them. And it's a fun group. And obviously I look forward to more races down the road here. Of course, we got the Trans Service Truck Series we're doing now. And I know Joey and I are talking a little bit about what we're going to do next season. Of course, Sunday and Mondays are our nights. And, of course, the good guys over there at Turn 3 taking care of Wednesday nights with the Truck Series. I say guys, I think it's Joe, right? And it's just one guy. It's like me, so to say. I forget Joe's last name, but super, I've talked to him a couple times. Super nice guy and does a great job over there with that crew. Every night you get a chance to watch a Sim500 series. I mean, heck, Friday night, Larry Pace has been running amok of the ARCA series in the midnight car. So, so many great things going on right now. It's a fun series to be a part of. You see some great racing. Yeah, one guy unfortunately is running away with this one, but look at the nose to tail right here for second, third, fourth, fifth.
Yeah, coming into this, Brian Macklin had a 2-point lead, and he has dug himself a very deep hole.
Did he call first?
Buckingham, Comstock, Glazer, and Kelly were the point championship with Tommy Ryan following them. They're running in the same position as their points almost, except for Kelly's one out of place there. It's Comstock running right behind Falkingham, Glazer following Comstock, and Tommy Ryan right there. And then you go back to the 2 of Kelly. If he got past, they'd be running in the same order as the points coming in.
As we say, the cream rises to the top at the end of this race, and that's where you see 5 of the top 6 right now, all playoff drivers as we get to the 20 to go mark in this race. But yeah, just doing math right now, obviously you've got a 17-point difference between Falkingham and Macklin. Of course, a lap lead in there, and other different factors are going to give and take here. So let's just call it 20 and say that it will be an 18-point difference between Falkingham and Macklin going to Phoenix next week. But unfortunately for Brian, he's going to lose at least 2 spots in the points because Comstock and Glazier are second and third in this race now. So it is literally going to be less than, I would say, 5 points going to Phoenix next week. It is going to come down to positions.
We look at this battle for second, third, and fourth. These guys know that championships are won by a point. I don't think any of them are content in these final 15 laps. They probably have ridden off trying to catch Daniel because he's entering turn 3 and they're rolling into 2. So he's got a half a track advantage over them. Any one of these guys would love to have another point.
This goes back to the whole method of where I think that if you are going to have a playoffs in real life for NASCAR, do a multiple race championship, not one.
Yeah, I do wish there was some way to fix that where it's not a winner take all type of situation.
Do like a 2 or 3 race series, and whoever scores the most points out of the top 4 or whatever at that point is your champion.
I just sit here and watch out the window at these 5 drivers running nose to tail here, wondering, have we seen the last of the action or not? Are they, just flip it the other way. Are they content or are they willing to do something here to get another position? That's the question. Tommy Ryan, right on the back bumper, he's able to peek underneath that 18 every corner exit. Is it one of these laps he's going to go in and just tag him a little bit, move him up the racetrack and sneak under it? I don't know, but time's running out. We're going to find out quickly.
13 laps to go. Aaron Thomas said a lot of us would like to go or prefer they go back to the conventional point system. I'm not going to disagree with that one bit. I am more and more as I've watched, especially this season's playoffs. I'm like, all right, they got to go back to it. And then when, there's the first reference. I wasn't going to say anything. Somebody said it in chat. When that one thing happened here in 3 and 4, that really put me over the edge to say, you know what? I'm on board with the old system.
It still would have occurred with the disqualification of Kennedy, but that's all we need to talk about the topic. You can't do it here in the Sim, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I've seen it done on Twitter, so or don't tell me that.
Somebody was talking about the inside fence.
Well,
Drive down, go inside the curb, and run the inside fence on the grass and try it.
Well, that guy only made it 4 laps, so let me know how that goes.
Well, on the last lap, This battle will not end,
It's
especially the 99 is right there.
This is where you argue, okay, is Comstock holding these guys up? I mean, they're all within 10 seconds, and you got Jatina, who's right there behind Mike Kelly, trying to join this 5-car battle. But this is easily the best fight on the track right here. And with it being cold everywhere in America right now, I'm going to use it. 5 cars under a blanket.
Watching the 39, just seeing what's going on with him, making sure we don't lose track. He's coming up to the backstretch. He's got the 8 car in front of him and then clear racetrack out in front of him. And just kind of on cruise control right now. Still running that, hug the curb line and doing what he needs to do and watching the laps click off.
7 laps to go. Yep, and there he is. Daniel Falkingham, last time by a 20.1. He's not the only driver running a 20.10, oh, by the way. Scott Simley back there, 2015, a 2019 from Yoakum. That's a very fair point from Aaron. He said you don't have to be the fastest in this situation. You just got to be the hardest to pass, especially at 6 laps to go. Absolutely. But you wonder, with the battle that is on the line here, with Glazier and Comstock being second and third, likely entering points next week, if you're Bentley Glazier, do you make any kind of a move here on Comstock and say, hey, I'm getting the advantage on you right now? Or do you say, all right, I'm going to race you clean and go to the finish here?
Help me with something. Do you think squaring up the car in case somebody's going to get into the back really works in the Sim? You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I think if you, I don't want to say brake check, but park the bus in the corner, absolutely. I think it does work.
Yeah, you hear the real drivers talk about that. If they look in the mirror and they see somebody coming and they know the tag is coming, they just ease the car in and
Right.
try to make sure they get hit
Oh,
square.
Ryan Wortman spins. Caution!
Yellow!
Ryan Wortman.
Wordman lost it off of, what, 4? Nosed it into the wall? Wow.
Oh, boy. Are you coming to get tires here?
That's a
yes.
great question.
Or do you do the opposite of what Daniel does? Oh, yeah, you
I
just
think
lost it
two
off 4.
green and white checkers, I'd be fetching tires. if I
Oh,
had it.
boy. Let's get back to the leader real quickly here and see what happens.
I could hear the scream coming out of, where is he, Massachusetts? No! Throwing things
Our
across
viewer
the-
count just doubled, by the way. Doywood, Scott Simley come to pit road. Now, I wonder if these others didn't pit because they were trying to catch the pace car.
You know that happens sometimes as pit road opens for the back cars, and I always thought if they pitted they'd get penalized, but sometimes it works.
Well, here's the problem, though, is how quick can you get through pit road if you're those cars in the back without getting lapped? Because sometimes you're risking going a lap down if you do it.
You take right side tires, you're good. Yep, couple of them going in.
Who pits? That's a lap car. Medina and Sigmund a lap car.
Nope, none of these leaders. So it just wasn't worth it, apparently.
Here's the deal, though. Here's the deal. Tommy Ryan, Mike Kelly, you two specifically here, you really have no chance of winning a championship. Why not?
Well, and the other thing with everybody else pitting on the lead lap there, you only had like 2 or 3 cars that
Right.
stayed out behind you.
The worst you're going to do is finish 11th. That's the part where I think of what Larry McReynolds always says. When you follow the leader, you're going to follow the leader.
Yeah.
Do something different here. Comstock Glacier, I'm totally okay with this move because you're minimalizing the damage between you and Falkingham and staying within 5 to 10 points of the point lead. Tommy Ryan, Mike Kelly, you got nothing to lose. Chad Coleman, you got nothing to lose.
As hard as it is to pass, though, maybe you cut bait, right? You're within 1 or 2 positions. It's only a point or 2. It's better to try and chase those positions at Phoenix than to give up 4 positions, get caught up in somebody's mess. You seem to be more in control of your own destiny by staying out here and staying in contact if your leader did this.
Right, and that's where I say that I think
Fight another day, right?
Comstock and Glacier, absolutely. I'm fine with that. I think the other guys, though, it's like you're here to win. I mean, what's the difference in this series in 4th and points and 5th? Yeah, there's a few dollars.
Well, you have to think through this both ways. 1, race goes green to the finish. Are you really going to pass as many cars? You might get back to the position you were in.
And what do you lose?
The next thing is they crash and you're behind it and you get caught up in it and your car is junk and you go all the way back.
Which
to
the worst you finish is 11th, unless
maybe
you go a couple.
13 or
maybe.
something like that.
So yeah, no, I see both ends, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Though, so, but Daniel, go lead him back here.
I don't know. I just wish one of them would have tried it so we could see
Right.
how it worked out.
Well, we'll see here with Scott Simley and those guys in the back how they do with tires. But Falkingham leads them to the green. Green
Well,
white
those belts
checker.
tight.
You know, David's going to send it here.
He did. He's still there to his outside, but Falkingham would get the run and clear him on the backstretch.
Down to turn 3. David puts the bumper
Get
to him.
Get a little bump.
Sends him up the track.
Oh, he's alongside.
Here comes
That was
Glacier.
textbook. Glazer going to do the same thing. I'll tell you what, Comstock, what a great move. He's got the advantage out of turn 2. He's going to hold Daniel up going into this corner to
Does
the
he
high
push him,
side.
though? Does he push him up the track?
Drive up, take his line away, drive off.
Drag race off of 4.
Got
Daniel
him.
got him as they wreck. Oh, ho, ho. Falkingham with the win.
Unbelievable. If he got him by inches.
I have no problem with that race right there.
What a great job by Comstock to try and steal that away. I thought for sure out of 4 he had it.
All right, somebody send Brian Wortman a dinner.
If I'm Comstock, I would have put Daniel in the fence out of 4 to try and get that. I mean, it's so close. If he'd have just scrubbed him a little bit more, seeing him with the run.
Let me play devil's advocate here. If you do that, you open the door for Daniel to do that back to you next week.
I don't care.
Okay.
I would win this race. I'd take that point. What a finish.
That was
Incredible.
fantastic. I mean, I have no problem with that bumper move. He gave him the bumper, moved him up the track, didn't wreck him, and they raced each other clean to the finish.
Yeah, for the sake of calling this, the 14 was sideways across the line.
Yeah, they all wrecked crossing the line.
12.
Oh, how close was that? Let's. I mean, that was shades of Craven and Dale Jarrett 2001.
.012 is the finish.
Everybody pretty much fifth on back wrecked. Just put it like that. I want to look at.
What a finish. That was amazing. What a move by Comstock to set that up. That's really where you have to go. Is Comstock able to get underneath, root and gouge, get down underneath, and he was leading going into the backstretch, and Daniel just sailed it down in and drove around him.
Watch here as they enter the corner. As David enters turn 3 here, it's like he gains a boost, like right there. And I don't know if that's him getting back to the throttle, maybe to trying to push Daniel up the track.
I think Daniel had to ease on the brake and let the car cut left. Otherwise, he wasn't going to get an efficient corner. He was going to drive off from the center, which is what he did, because he's trailing here.
Right.
But he got such a good run with momentum to the outside. Here, Comstock should have come up and rubbed against him. He waited a little bit too late.
And like I said, everybody from 5th on back wrecked. Wow. All right, let's take a look at the final results here, and we'll get to talk to some drivers.
What a race.
Yeah, that was fantastic. You mentioned 12 100ths of a second from Fockingham to Comstock. Bentley Glazier 3rd, Tommy Ryan and Chad Coleman 5th, Doy Woods, Mike Kelly, Simley, Jatina, and Yoakum end up 10th. And Gerald Livingston ends up 11th, Doug Sigmund 12th. By the way, Doy Woods 6th on tires. Just going to put that out. Sigmund 12th, Stoney Benfield 13th, Jose Medina 14th, Doug Roth 15th. Wortman finishes 16th, Josh Parker. Brian Macklin 18th. And the rest of the field here, 19th, Justin Mons, Jimmy Coleman 20th, 21st, Ron Holyfield, Glenn Campbell in the 22nd position. 205 laps in the end ran in this race, and definitely a wild one here as we get some of the drivers up here to talk with them. Let's start with, if Bentley is even here. I do not see Mr. Glazier in chat yet, so up there he is. Okay, I guess the name Bentley would give that away. Let's bring Bentley up here. Great 3rd place finish for you. Obviously talking a little bit there as we go into the restart at the end of that race. You decide to stay out and obviously play your cards with those guys in front of you, which I felt was the right decision for you in that situation. But was there any kind of thing that crossed your mind of like, okay, I need to try to get a run on these guys to maybe try to win this thing? Or was it, you know, I'm going to get what I can get and go to Phoenix to try to win this thing? What was going through your mind here?
Pretty much just trying to get what I could get, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping they'd wreck, you know, right in that last corner, and I tried to go underneath them, but they had, you know, they got off the corner good, and that was pretty impressive what Daniel did there, staying on the outside like that.
Well, talk about your race, because you guys were you were up front, especially throughout that race. I don't know if there was ever a moment you were outside the top 5, if not the top 7, throughout that race. So you definitely showed the speed in that 18 car. Talk about your race and talk about the car.
Yeah, I felt I did all right. I kept getting stuck on the outside on those restarts, and so I'd make progress, and then I'd restart, and I'd lose a couple spots, and finally there at the end, I was able to start on the bottom, which was very helpful. But yeah, pretty uneventful race really. I was just, I've outdone my expectations here, so still in the championship fight. It's gonna have they're gonna have to have bad luck, but I think, I'm happy with how I did this season and still got a shot.
I'm gonna, to a point, respectfully disagree with you on them having bad luck part, because I mean you've definitely shown that you've had your speed, and as I pull up the standings right now over here on the website, I mean you're gonna be less than, I think, 5 going into this race. You're up, sorry, 9 points. So you're back 9 points going into Phoenix, which it's possible.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm just surprised that I'm up here,
Totally understand, man. Well, great job tonight. Congratulations. Send some shouts whoever you like to.
Thanks to all my teammates at OGR. Thanks to everybody at Sim500, and good win to Daniel, and good finish to David, and look forward to Phoenix.
Absolutely, man. We look forward to seeing you next week. Best of luck the rest of the week, and we'll see you then.
All right, thanks.
Absolutely. Bentley Glazier finishing in the 3rd position. I mean, you mentioned it, and I'm kind of actually shocked. That caught me off guard, seeing that they were that far back. I thought it'd be less than 5, but it's actually 8 and 9 respectively. But as we send you off to the next driver, I do want to point this out. Out of all the drivers who have started 27 races this season, Mr. Kevin, Bentley Glazier,
Yes, sir.
by far has the least amount of incident points this season, and he's the only one under 100. He's at 82. Leave you with that little fact as I'm looking at the point standings right now. But David Comstock finishes 2nd by a Monster Energy can, shall we say. And let's get him up here and let you talk to Mr. Comstock.
Yeah, so actually, David taking his helmet off, getting cold drink here. What a finish, David. Take us through that last part there. You had us all on our toes watching that as you came off of turn 4.
Yeah, I didn't do a good job of dooring him when he had the run coming back to the line. So I even told him that. I was just like I had the position, and I didn't want to I didn't want to throttle up and get myself loose off the corner, and then I didn't want to necessarily crowd him and fence him and junk him off the corner where he didn't get a good result himself.
Somebody in his channel did, not me.
Yeah, but at least wanted to make it a run to the line, and moved him as clean as you could here at Martinsville. And I just didn't do a good job of pinching me into the wall and trying to stop his momentum coming to the line. That's all it was. I was trying to once I saw he was on my mirror closing back in and he was about to break the plane of my bumper before the line, I tried to squeeze him up, but it was too late.
Yeah, a little too late. We were watching, and we have to go back to the move that set it up. Just textbook. Tap, tap, tap on the back bumper, able to drive him up the track and get underneath. And I don't know how much when you're in the throes of driving a car, it's hard to tell, but you were ahead coming off of turn 4. And just, did you think you could get yourself in that position coming back to that final restart?
I mean, the only shot I had was just I was stuck on the outside, so it's go for broke pretty much. Because if I did a really just random luck of timing the restart. I just guessed and was able to time it along with him. So that kept me positioned where I can, stay on the outside. And even though it cleared me off of 2 on that initial restart, I would want to do it on the last lap because it gives no opportunity back to race the line. Because then if it was, the white flag lap instead,
Right.
where I was ahead of him coming to the checkered the other way around, it'd be a different story. But for how quick he was, the moment he's out front, it's this is my only opportunity to stay with him and have a shot at doing what I needed to do to try to get position on him and try to win this race. So there was no time wasted. I had to go and I had to move him, and he knows that's just that's how things go with the racing and the short track stuff here. But I didn't want to absolutely dump him and junk him and make him. We're teammates, but I don't want to necessarily make him on my hit list next week going for the last race. If he gets junked and winds up finishing in the teens when he should have finished, leading the race with that yellow toward the end or second, with me moving him. So it's it's a double-edged sword. I definitely had intentions on moving if the chance was presented, but I didn't want to absolutely just junk him.
I'm sure you'll go back and replay that final lap 20 times, but just the fact that you had the
I already did.
opportunity and we're door to door, you know, you have to wonder coming into turn 3 if you'd have pushed them up a little bit, perhaps, or, you know, again, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But we were talking during the race about all those single-digit finishes that you have, and here you come away with the second-place finishes, 8 markers back going into Phoenix. If Daniel has a problem, you're so in the hunt for this championship, and even without a problem, just race him all the way to the final checkered, right?
Right. I mean, he's quick everywhere. He's probably gonna be quick at Phoenix. Just as my reservations were coming into tonight, I wasn't necessarily confident in what the finish would be. Like I knew I have top 5 pace, but Martinsville and Phoenix with the repave has always just been hit or miss for me. And Martinsville especially has just been, I've never really been good in the long run. This is probably one of the best times that I've been on a long run, especially in this new car. So Phoenix, I'm gonna just try to do the best I can like I did tonight and hope things play out where, you know, I'm probably not going to lead the most laps. Daniel will, because he's really good at doing that. And if I can at least lead a lap, something happens, late race yellow, you know, track position type deal. You never know what may happen.
You know, all things are possible, and we've seen championships won and lost in that final race. So we'll keep an eye on you. You're definitely one of the favorites going in, with Bentley Glazer just hounded you all night long, and he's right there with you. The two of you are going to go in with a good shot at this next week. Who do you want to say hello to, give a shout out to, anything you want? Your stage is yours.
Yeah. Shame also for Macklin that he had his troubles. That would have been really awesome with a 4-car battle going to last race, because we were all on top of each other all night long. But anyways, I'd like to thank Sim500 and NC811.org for sponsoring our series here on Monday nights, and all the admins that run Sim500 that put on all the leagues that we got 7 nights a week. Well, right now I think it's like 5 or 6, but soon to be 7 nights a week. Check them out at sim500.com. Appreciate you guys for broadcasting. Thanks to my teammates at Team Name, all their support. Congrats to Daniel on the win. And thanks to Monster Energy for being on the car.
There you go, David Comstock. So close tonight. Outstanding race for the Monster Energy driver, and we'll see him next week at Phoenix. Now we're going to turn it over to 13 wins on the season. It's Daniel Falkingham with the win.
Well, he had to fight for that 13th one tonight here at the end, and I'm sure he's probably ribbing Mr. Wortman in that last caution. Daniel, you're cruising to victory lane, and a caution comes out. And obviously you got to re-rack him, but obviously David made the move. He said he literally wanted to race you like that. He didn't want to wreck you, which he didn't. So from the receiving standpoint, are you okay with, you know, him giving you the bumper like that and racing you that way? Are you fine with that, knowing that, hey, you expected that, or is that something that's like, man, I wish you would have done that?
It's Martinsville. That's what the bumpers are meant to be used for, like on short track racing and stuff. So I fully expected it to come in. Thankfully, he didn't like fully junk me or fully like run me up or do all that stuff. So it definitely will go a long way when we're competing for the title next week. But yeah, I knew he was gonna do something. I just wish I could just cruise home to the end, just take the points and then go to Phoenix. But now, of course, me and Martinsville, man, it's a love-hate relationship. Like I love this track. But usually luck never goes my way, and thankfully we got it done what we couldn't do in the spring. Spring I should have won in the spring, but thankfully we got it back tonight. So thankfully we got maximum points again, and we're going to the final race 8 over David. So I'm telling you, after getting wrecked at Vegas 2 weeks ago, I knew having to come from behind was gonna be hard, but winning the last 2 races, getting all the max points possible, we're right back in it, and we're hopefully gonna take on what's rightfully ours next week.
Absolutely, and of course. We got to go back to earlier in the race, the mistake by Tommy, locking up the tires, trying to keep off of you, but unfortunately you got turned a little bit there, and then you get back in the pack a little bit. The incident there with Jimmy, talk about what you saw there in that situation. Was that one of those things where you thought you would be able to get the inside run on him there, or did you just drive it in too deep? What happened there?
Yeah, that was 100% my fault. He got loose off a 2 in front of me, and he just lost a lot of momentum. I wasn't even trying to pass him. I was trying to peek out so I could see where the corner was. so I could not like run to the back of him. But he braked so much early. Like he braked so much earlier than I thought he was going to, and yeah, I don't know if it's just because he had a really tight line going to the corner or what, but that's 100% on me. I'm not gonna make any excuses. Just that was just fully misjudged it. Did not expect him to break that soon, and I just got in the back of him and killed him, and I think I killed a few other people. So that was 100% my fault. Hate to do that, but yeah, just can't take that back unfortunately. But is what it is. Just these close quarters, and you're gonna have instances like that. So that was 100% my fault. Sorry to Jimmy, Scott, and everyone else involved in that. But at the end of the day, you just gotta live with it and move on.
And of course, now you go to Phoenix, as you mentioned. You're excited. You got the 8-point advantage going into that race. Is this one of those where it's like, hey, same as it's been the last couple weeks? Let's just get on the wheel and go win it.
Yeah, for sure. Phoenix is one of my best tracks, and I played the same stupid song and dance the last 3 years. I'm going in with a shot, and I don't win it. I've been screwed over the last 3 years, and it's not happening this year. I'm going in with full intentions. I'm going in. I'm hopefully going to be leaving next week with the championship because been trying to chase this thing for the last 4 years, and I think it's finally my time. Just can't have any stupid mistakes, and we just got to make sure we bring this car home clean and stuff. So it's not over by any shot, but considering all the crap I've been through the last 4 years trying to win a championship and all the heartbreak and all the screw jobs that have been made against me, just next week is finally time to go finish the job, what we started 4 years ago, and hopefully we can do it, and the way we've done it the last 2 weeks. So gonna give it all I got. I know David's gonna be quick. It's gonna be down to me and him, and yeah, I don't know how the other points are, but it's probably down to me and him mainly. But yeah, I have full intentions of walking out next week with that championship, and I'm gonna make sure of it.
There you go. Well, best of luck next week. Obviously, we'll get to there when we get there. Right now, shout out to whoever you like to.
Yep, just gotta thank first everybody last 7 January 31st for all their support. I gotta thank Joey who runs the show, Sim500, all the admins. Everyone races each every week. We had a relatively small field tonight, so it was kind of nice to have those long green flag runs. But wish we had a little bit of a larger field, but it is what it is. But thanks to everyone racing each every week, makes the series possible. Thanks to NC811 for all they did for the series. Gotta thank Team Name, David, Chad, Doy, Josh, all them guys. Thank my team, North Force Racing, Preston Gilson, Vince Marsh, and the whole crew over there. Everyone else, I know I'm forgetting a lot of people, but thanks to my teammates as well. Getting ready for Contender Series tomorrow night at Auto Club, third race out of 7. We had a bad race last week, and we're trying to make up from that, but feeling confident going into tomorrow night. So appreciate all the fellas over there who let me come over and do this, and ready to go to war with them tomorrow night in Contender. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thanks to Cosmos, Plastico Graphics for painting all my cars. All the fans for watching us each and every week. And thanks to my friends and family for all their support.
There you go. Great job tonight, man. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, appreciate it, Chris. Y'all have a good one.
You too. Daniel Falkingham, the winner tonight here at Martinsville Speedway. 8-point advantage over the David Comstock car. And I couldn't help but notice there, Kevin, and I don't think he did it intentionally, but he didn't mention Bentley only being 9 points back from the battle. So
yeah,
I think that's going to be interesting. But, man, we're going to Phoenix next week, the Jewel out there in the desert, a mile track, flat, and anything can happen.
Yeah, his confidence is up, and he sounds reminiscent of Joey Logano, who called his shot and then went in and put a spanking on those guys. And we'll see. Daniel's been so dominant, but I've been here a couple times to watch him in the previous seasons, like you said, where he was certainly the favorite going in, and he has yet to lock down that coveted trophy. So all things are possible going into Phoenix next week for Comstock and Glazer. If Daniel has any problems, they're 1 point spread between them, and the other guys are right there behind them too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna have to come and watch it to the checkered flag, like I said earlier.
It is going to be interesting. So look forward to being part of it next Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. We'll be here on the Captain Esports Network. We'll be getting this race over to the newly formed iRock TV, formerly the obviously the race channel there on the not the Fire Stick, but the Roku. I lost the name in my head there for a second. But you can check out iRock TV over there. We'll send that race over to them, and you'll see this race later on this week on those channels. and going from there. So it should be a lot of fun. And obviously, make sure you go check out iRock TV over on the Roku if you've got the stick there at home. Go download it, watch it. Got some great iRacing on there, content and stuff like that as we're getting that channel slowly going there. So looking forward to all that and more. Kevin, appreciate your time, and man, we'll see you next week in Phoenix.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Commercial where I think it's Jack Daniels, where she takes the drink, she pours it, she slides it down the bar, and he grabs the drink and he says, "I always wanted to do that." You know which one I'm talking about?
I think so.
Okay, so here we go. This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain Esports Broadcasting. Captain Esports would like to thank all our loyal viewers, and we hope that you enjoyed today's broadcast. I always wanted to do that.
That's very. I need to get that recorded and just keep that from now on. That was awesome. All right, remember this isn't just a game; it's iRacing. See ya.